Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Hsieh, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the
Every
field.
product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son, major retailers.
Yeah.
We think this is cool. Is this cool?
The thing with Amazon is just it become more and more complicated over the years. Yeah, maybe you can also consider to create more online resources.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, where we unbox the secret of the success in the toy industry. I'm your host, Jason Hsieh, and today we have a very special guest joining us. He's a seasoned veteran in the toy industry with a wealth of experience and wealth of knowledge, spanning from owning his own retail store and all the way to now working for a global toys company. Please welcome Phil, and thank you for joining with me on the podcast today, Phil.
Thanks, Jason. I'm glad to be here.
Can you share with us your unique journey in the industry?
Sure.
And how long you have been around?
I was born into it. I will admit, I started in the toy industry at the age of 3. I was the cute kid that was on the float in the downtown parades for my grandfather's toy store. So I've been in the toy industry all my life. My grandparents started the store in the late 40s, and I started working there literally at the age of 7. I got 10 cents an hour in 1973 to cut up boxes. You have to give a 7-year-old a box cutter today. At 14 years old, I had my work permit in hand. My parents now own the store, and I was standing on the floor selling handheld electronic games. And in 1993, my dad called me up when I had a separate career going in a different field of team building and experiential education. He said, "Hey, how would you like to join the toy industry full time?" And I did in 1993. So I was in the retail side from 1993 until 2016. Unfortunately, the city of Jackson, where I'm from in Michigan, didn't do so well with the economy in 2008. And by 16, the handwriting was on the wall that it just couldn't support the store the way we were.
Yeah.
So I left the business. We closed up the store in 2016 after 68 years. And then I moved over to the manufacturing side.
Yeah.
First with a German brand called Haba USA, and now with another German brand called Ravensburger. I'm the national sales manager for all the independent stores that sell Ravensburger puzzles and toys and Brio and all that. 31 years full-time in the industry, but a lifetime involved with toys.
Yeah.
We lived and breathed it. I didn't know anything else at Christmas time other than the toy industry.
You have a very unique perspective because you work both as a retailer, now also representing like a giant toy brand. And I think the perspective is very interesting. So my next question for you is, what do you think that set the independent specialty toy store apart from the large retailer, and how can they strive in like today's competitive landscape, especially for the smaller guys?
It's very simple. The thing that sets them apart is passion. You can sum it up in one word. When I deal with, or our team deals with the bigger accounts and the national brands and all that, it's a numbers game. They need to know, what's the turn ratio? How fast is this going to move? Am I going to make money? What's my profit margin? It's all numbers.
Yes.
When I deal with my sales reps and my retailers on the independent side, that's my primary channel. It's the feeling. Do I feel good about this product? Do I feel good about this company? Am I being served right? Do we have a good relationship? And that relationship carries over to the customer. So that retailer has a relationship. No one has a relationship with Target.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not knocking Target. I'm not saying that they're a bad company or anything like that, but it's not a relationship. It's a transaction. You go into Target, you buy something, you move out. You go into your specialty store. It's a relationship.
That's true.
We closed the store, almost 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I still have people that come up to me on the street and talk to me.
Really? Whoa.
Oh yeah. They see me, they know me from the store. Having a strong relationship with your vendors. Those are the things that are going to make an independent store successful. It's all about the relationship.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's unique with an independent specialty store is you actually get to meet the owner. When is the last time you meet the CEO of Target, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the funny things that would happen is someone come in with a complaint. I couldn't say, "Oh, that was a corporate decision," because I was the corporate.
Very different dynamic. And of course, you can create that the first name basis relationship that you couldn't create in a big box retail store. And I know you are also has been a member for Astra for over 25 years. What role do you see the organization like Astra playing in supporting independent toys retailers and also supporting small toys brand like myself, because I also own a small toy brand as well.
Astra has amazing programs. And again, it's the people, it's the relationships. And some of my best friends in this world are people I've met through my time being at Astra. And one of the things, in fact, just before this podcast, literally I hung up from that call before getting on this call, was a new program called the Ambassador Program, where I am going to be, because of my experience and being a veteran in the industry and a veteran of Astra, an ambassador, a mentor for maybe possibly somebody like yourself that's new to Astra. So now I can take my knowledge and my experience and say, hey, Jason, here's some things that you should know about Astra and help you out. And then you can say, hey, Phil, I got a question. I'm your guy.
Yeah,
And
I saw that meeting. I wasn't able to attend. I have a conflict meeting.
yeah,
I definitely need to watch the replay to understand how that
so
membership program works.
So those kinds of things exist within Astra. Astra does so much to support not only the retailers, but also the manufacturers, the sales reps, the affiliates, the people that do all the support for us. They work to help all of these people meet each other, connect in meaningful ways, and help each other to grow. When you get to Astra, for instance, at their Marketplace and Academy, they have classes that teach you how to be a better retailer or how to be a better manufacturer, classes that teach you about child development and play and how play affects child development, classes that teach you the insights of the toy industry to keep you informed of what is going on and how things are evolving and changing within the industry. So it's really more than just, hey, here's product, buy it.
Mhm.
It's how do we make each other better? How do we build those relationships that we talked about and make it better?
This is actually our first year with my toy brand and my toy company. For our first year to attend Astra, we actually have our first ever booth, so I'm nervous about it. But what is your advice for like newbie like us that have never been part of the Astra yet? I have been in the toy industry for since 2017, but my business is 100% online. I do zero retail because that's just not what I'm good at. But this year, I'm really trying to figure out my way into the retail. What will you say to a new toy brand owner like myself that is trying to get into the retail space but doesn't really know where to start? Just sign up for Astra, but doesn't really know where to start neither. What is your piece of advice?
The first piece of advice is know what your story is.
Mm,
Know why you're going there and what is the story that compels your product to be something that people want to sell.
mm,
When they come into your booth, do they understand what are you selling? Because you're not selling a toy.
yeah.
We all have to understand that we're not selling toys. We're selling solutions to problems or solutions to situations. We are selling a story, a feeling. How are people going to feel when they buy your product? You have to know that side of things and understand the dynamics financially of how that works for a specialty retailer. What kind of margins are they expecting? What kind of programs are they expecting? Can they order your stuff easily? How much are you going to ask them to order? You
Yeah.
said, wait, I need you to buy 144 of each of these items. They're going to probably go, unless your item is this big, no. You know,
100%,
so
sure.
you have to know a little bit about that and what that retailer will expect. Most of the retailers are looking for, do you offer a program for free freight? Because we don't want to pay the freight. Do you have good margins? They're looking for keystone margins. If you have better than that, even better.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, what do you have instead of that that's going to help out? So if the margins are a little bit tight, maybe you can't quite do that because of how your structure's set up. Then you have to figure out, what do I have that will offset that? Is this product going to move fast enough? Do I have marketing assets? There's a lot of little
Yeah.
things,
A lot of
but
things.
but the big thing at the end of the day is, do I have something that I can relate to the customer, that the retailer can relate? Can they figure out exactly what I'm trying to sell, what I'm trying to solve, what my product, where my products fit?
Yeah, and also like how can you have a packaging that's appealing enough? I think we have a conversation offline about that because that's my weak point. My entire business is structured for online sales and e-commerce.
Mhm.
So packaging
So
is usually like the second thought because people don't really see that online as much.
Mhm.
But in the retail space, like a specialty toy store, that's everything that people see before they make that buying decision.
And that's also, the bigger the store, the more important the packaging is.
Yeah.
Especially, that's the one thing that specialty stores have, that relationship they have with their customers. They can turn around and say to a customer, hey, I know you didn't look at this because it doesn't look very exciting on the shelf, but let me show you this. You're really going to like it. And they can
True.
do what we call hand selling. Some retailers are very good at this, some are not. That's how you overcome the packaging issue somewhat. But
Yeah.
yes, packaging is, as much as I hate to say it, we are a shallow group of people and we do judge a book by its cover. So packaging is important, and packaging is especially important if you're trying to get into, say, Canada, because Quebec has its own rules with the French language. You
True.
have to
True,
know
true.
what that is, or you
Yeah.
can be in a lot of trouble trying to sell into
True.
French Canadian markets.
Same as actually Amazon Canada, you need to have two language on your packaging. That's one
Mhm.
of the Amazon requirements. Since we do a lot of business with Amazon, you do need to have English and French on your
English and
packaging if you
French.
want to,
Mhm.
yeah, if you want to sell into Canadian marketplace. So I want to transition to my next question, which is really more about growing and running a successful retail toy business, which is majority of your experience. And you hire a team like supporting your store. What is the most effective way to recruit, not just recruiting, but also nurture your team members so they can really help your store to be successful based on your previous experience?
I can tell you that the most important thing is you have to know what kind of person you want to hire. When I say what kind of person, we all have inherent traits. You know,
Yeah.
we might be friendly and outgoing. We might be very smart. We might be super organized. We might have a trait of we're very prompt and always on time. We might have a trait that says we love to crunch numbers or we love to help other people.
Yeah.
And so you have to identify what are the traits that this job requires and list them all out. You just go, well, here's all the different things I want out of this person. What's the perfect employee? And when you
Mhm.
know what the perfect employee is,
Yeah.
you can look at that list of traits and you can say, okay, this I can teach. Someone move that over here. This I can't teach. Someone move that over there. They
Mhm.
have to bring this to the table. This I can put in my training program. And so what we do is we create two lists, a list of what they have to bring to the table and a
Mhm.
list of what I'm going to teach. And now you have your interview questions and your training manual.
Okay, that's a good way to
And
look at it.
you've already built it.
Yeah.
Now, finding those people, if you're using Indeed or any place else like that, if you're going to Monster, if you're doing any of the online sites or your local paper or a radio ad, the key here is this list of traits.
Sure.
Help your people self-select. If
Mhm.
you're looking for somebody that's super organized, start off your description of the job, not with what they're going to do or anything like that. Say, I'm looking for someone that's super organized. Right off the bat, the people that are not super organized, or at least don't identify that way, you go, oh, that's not for me. But the
True.
people that are going, they're super organized, go, oh, I'm super organized. I'm looking for somebody that's super organized that loves to solve problems and help people out in a fun way.
Mhm. So I
So
want to bring the question back to specifically to the specialty toy store. Is there a special trade? Do you want to hire someone that really love and have passion about the toys? And what is the trade that you are looking for?
for me and my store, when I was hiring, we hired 10 to 12 people just for the Christmas season because we are a very large store.
True.
The things I was looking for is people that were friendly,
Mhm.
outgoing, and loved to solve problems or help people.
Mhm.
And so
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
one of the questions I would often ask is somebody, whether you had retail experience or not, didn't matter. I have 20 years of experience in retail, but it was all at J.C. Penney. You know, good to me. So,
True. Very
you know,
different. Yeah.
so I would have somebody that I would talk to and I might ask them a question. Tell me about a time where you had really good customer service.
I see. Okay.
And
Okay.
what that would do is they'd share an experience with me that they've had. And that gave me an idea of where their head was in that space. Or I'd say, tell me about a time where you had to solve a really hard problem.
Mhm.
And if they say, oh my God, I hated it. I couldn't stand it. It was the worst thing in the world. I'm like, well, you might not be the right person for me. But if you say, oh,
Mhm.
you will not believe this. I had this experience and it was so cool because I did this and this. And next thing you know, this happened. And like, okay, that's somebody that has a passion for solving problems.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I looked for when I was looking at, but like it changes for every job. I needed a new
True.
bookkeeper for my store
Yeah.
and I really wanted someone that's ultra organized. I interviewed a person who said, at the end of the day, when I leave, I want to make sure that if I get hit by a bus on the way home, whoever has to step in tomorrow knows exactly what I've done. And I'm like, that's a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
That's what you want for your book. That might not translate to sales. But every position in your store has that
Different.
characteristic.
Yeah.
And if you have to know you want,
Mhm.
what you can train, what you can't train. I can teach you all you need to know about toys. I can
Yeah.
show you how to play games. I can talk about how different toys are used for different needs. I can talk to you about how the cash register works and our layaway policy and our gift wrapping policy and our returns policy. I can teach all that,
Yeah.
but I can't teach you to care.
That's true. That's true. That's a hard one to teach. And for us, for our toy brand and our toy marketing company, we also use like this, like a personality test, just bring us a little bit more context. Another one we have used in the past is called Kobe assessment. That's also a personality test assessment we do. Right now, we have like our team is fairly small. We have about 9 people, including myself. And we are still trying to grow. So, like, thank you so much for sharing some of the tips for the interview. I'll definitely implement some of that into my current hiring process as well. But the next thing I want to transition into is now we talk about hiring, but I want to talk about marketing for retail store, which is a very unique challenge because marketing play a significant role to attract your local customer to your local retail toy store. What are some of the unique marketing approach that you have tried in the past that worked well for you?
The first thing is you have to know exactly who you are. When I say who you are, you as a person, but you as a business.
Hmm.
What does your business stand for? What are the values of your business? Because the customer that's going to be the easiest to sell for you is the customer who shares the same values you have. For instance, my values were having fun, helping others, education, and nostalgia, which is about the perfect combination for a toy store. Nostalgia, because you got Christmas and birthdays, the having fun, toys, how the education, toys are educational. They
Yeah,
said that all television is educational, just depends on what it's teaching. And I say the same thing about all toys. All toys are educational, but not all lessons are the same.
true. Yeah.
So knowing that those were my 4 core values and my store's 4 core values, I made sure that in all my advertising, some marketing, I would run radio ads. I used a lot on social media because that's the other thing about advertising. If it looks and sounds like an ad, what's the first?
It is an ad. Yeah.
It's an ad, and we are trained to ignore ads. We hate ads. Don't sound like an ad.
Mhm.
Make it interesting. Say things that are interesting that people want to listen. Say things that people want to share. We make this big mistake on social media where we just make posts and posts, and we think the quantity of posts is what's going to do it.
Mhm.
It isn't.
Hmm.
Say things that are share worthy. This is share worthy, by the way, is a term that my friend Tim came up with. And it's a really cool term because on social media, especially, if
Mhm.
you say something there, make it something that somebody's going to say, I got to tell so and so about this.
Mm. True.
Because what is the best form of advertising? Word of
Word
mouth,
of mouth.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the only way you get word of mouth is to do something that somebody has to tell somebody else about.
Totally true. What excites you the most about the future of the toy industry, and what do you hope to see in the years to come?
I go a lot of different ways with that. The biggest one is that I think even with technology has grown and expanded. I was in the toy industry when Fisher Price started putting a little chip into everything.
Mm.
Everything that they made now had a little chip in it. So it made noise and it made sounds and it did.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff was done frivolously. It was just there. It didn't really add play value.
Mm.
And I think one of the things that's excited me the most, especially with the brands that I've worked with Haba and with Ravensburger, is play value is at the core of what we do. Most of the toys I see nowadays, we've gotten away from technology as just a bell and whistle, as a gimmick, to technology only if it makes sense for the play value.
Got it. Yeah.
And play value is what makes the difference in a child's life. The lessons that they learn start at a very early age. I'm not anti technology, I'm anti frivolous technology.
Mm.
I'm all about play value. And what I have seen over the last 10 years is a trend away from technology for the sake of technology and technology for the purpose of expanding and building on the play value and the experience. So those are the things that I'm excited about because play value at the end of the day is what's going to make us a better country.
True.
We grow our kids this way.
Do you have any memorable experience or lesson that you learned from working in the toy industry for over 30 years? And what are some of the major lessons that you would like to share with the listener?
An actual experience that happened to me when I was 14 years old. It was literally Christmas Eve, and I stood behind a glass counter the whole time. And all I did was show the handheld electronic games. I'd take the Simon game out and I put it on the counter and say, see the
Yeah.
4 colors, push the buttons. And I'd pull out the little Coleco handheld football game and I'd say, see this? And I'd hold it up here so they could see it. And I go, do it. And I could play all these games better than all my friends for backwards because that's all I did all day was demonstrate me.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas Eve and we had been sold out of the Simon games for weeks.
Yeah.
But we'd had one that came back. It was canceled on an hour before we closed. And my mom hands it to me, puts it down on my feet, and says, see if you can sell this in the next hour. Turn around, and this guy is standing there.
Mhm.
And he is driven. Literally, he left Detroit. He went all the way across the state of Michigan to Grand Rapids, was working his way back. He was in a store in Battle Creek, and they said, if anyone has it, the Toy House in Jackson will have it. And he came in. I had the game. And he's reaching over the counter and he's hugging me and he's saying, God bless you over and over. He's crying.
Whoa.
I'm crying. I'm
Whoa.
14 years old and I'm realizing it just now, it's dawning on me. My whole world's kind of opening up to the idea of what a difference we make. And we have to always remember that we aren't just selling toys. We're making a difference. And years to process that. That was 1980. It was until 93 that I was full-time in the toy industry. I was doing other things, but at the same time, that was the moment.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's a powerful story. I can 100% relate to that because with my own toys brand, I started the toy brand because my son with his, autism and special needs. And the toy we are trying to create is also trying to make a difference in the life of the kids and the family that use the toy that we create and we design. So I can 100% relate to that and part of your mission statement that you just shared. If you had just one piece of advice to share with someone that's getting started in the toy industry, what would that be?
Know why you're doing it. Know exactly why. Know your core values and make sure that what you're doing with your business, whether it's opening a retail store or manufacturing a product or becoming a sales rep in the industry or whatever it is, know exactly that it matches your core values. Make sure that it matches them openly. It's the best advice I ever got, and it has served me well. I'll give you one other piece of advice, though, because it came from my grandfather, and he started the store in 1949, grew it into this amazing 3 words. All of our life, he drilled this into our heads. Plan for success. And if you know exactly what you are and why you're doing what you're doing, it's really easy to find that success because you'll attract the same people that share your values.
And I think it's also very important because entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter what type of business that you open in the toy industry, it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of up and downs. It's not always going to be roses and rainbow all the time. Just like you say, if you don't really understand what you're standing for, you most likely going to give up as an entrepreneur. And that's the only way to lose as an entrepreneur is when you give up. If you don't give up, even for me, throughout my entrepreneur journey, I went through a lot of stuff. I share openly in the podcast in the past. When I first started my own toy brand back in 2017, I have a full-time job. I have 3 kids, one with special needs. The second one just got diagnosis with cancer, which is leukemia. At the same year when I launched my toy business, it's like my life was like so stressful. And I was trying to piece everything together and launch my own toy business at the same time. And my wife at the time was pregnant with our 3rd child, all happening within the same year. So you can imagine the amounts of stress I was under and to try to overcome all that. But I want to share that story with a listener because if I can overcome that, so can you. It doesn't matter what kind of business you start in the toy industry. It could be a retail store, it could be your own brand. You are going to run into difficulty, but the main thing is you never give up. And just like what Phil shared earlier, is believe in your true core value, believe on why you start a business, then you're going to prevail on the other side and see the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, as well.
The beautiful thing about aligning with your core values is number 1, it doesn't feel like work. You're just doing
100%.
what comes naturally.
Yeah,
And number 2, you're going to find the low hanging fruit, which is the people who share your values. They're the easiest customers to attract.
for sure.
So do find out what your core values are. Make sure your business aligns completely with your core values and make sure you do everything consciously.
Thank you so much for being on our podcast interview today. Where is the best place for the listener to find you?
The best place is go to my website, philsforum.com, PHILSFORUM, philsforum.com. That's my side business where I do give advice and talk to people, retailers about how to be better retailers. And it has my contact information there.
I see. And I think we'll also see you in Astra this year. Yes.
And I'll be at Astra. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
perfect. Yeah, I was also see you in Astra. Please come swing by to our booth, which is 3303. Me and my sister will be there.
Wonderful.
Talking the show.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to see you in person. And thank you so much again for being on our podcast and sharing all your experience and sharing all your knowledge in the toy industry. Really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to Toy Business Unboxed, hosted by Jason Hsieh. Thank you for joining us in exploring the fascinating world of toys and the ingenuity behind them. To stay updated with the latest episodes and continue your journey into the toy business, remember to subscribe and follow us. If you found today's episode insightful, please leave a rating and review and share this podcast with others who share your passion for toys. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.